I have a very interesting story about companies getting woke and going broke. In particular, a British company called Brewdog, which is a craft brewer that has decided that what they'll do, well, they decided this last year, what they do is repackage one of their beers called Punk IPA and call it Pink IPA and market it, ironically, as a beer for girls in a way to critique and criticize other companies that unironically create X for girls, to say that beer is for everyone. Didn't go brilliantly. That's all I'm saying. So, when repackaging this beer, they decided to sell it a fifth cheaper in its bars to those who identify as women. The discount is aimed to reflect the 18.1% average gender pay gap between men and women in the UK, and they say the fact that the gender pay gap is still an issue in 2018 shows that a lot of lip service is being paid but not enough action is being taken to tackle inequality. My goodness. Sarah Warman, the global head of Brewdog marketing. With Pink IPA, we are making a statement the only way we know how. With beer. Love of beer is not gendered, beer is universal, beer is for everyone. Did she forget that beer is actually not universal? I mean, A, it's only for people who like beer, but B, kids aren't allowed it, Muslims aren't allowed it. There are doubtless going to be recovering alcoholics that shouldn't have it. It's actually not universal, it's actually a particularly niche product for people who want it. And you don't drink it all the time, you drink it in specific times, specific places. If you're just, at 3 PM drinking a beer out on the street, it's kind of gauche, is all I'm saying, Brewdog. It's not quite as universal as you think, but I can see what you're trying to do. I can see that you're trying to pander, trying to promote and signal to those very virtuous people who consider themselves feminists. It's definitely the woke thing to do. Look at this tweet. We've created a beer for girls, and it's pink, because women only like pink and glitter, right? Hashtag sarcasm. Let's show that enough is enough with stereotypes. By what? Creating a stereotype? By ironically creating a stereotype? Because you know that the feminists, and I love the way you've done this is a way of killing two birds with one stone. You know that the feminists will complain, and so you'll say, well look, this is what they would do, these other companies, they would do that. But also when it's on the shelves, you'll know that there are going to be some women that appeals to. So Brewdog only have a 2.8% median gender pay gap in favour of men across its global business, over 1,000 people. That's actually pretty negligible, to be fair, but it still exists. Why on earth are the men earning more? Brewdog. You absolute hypocrites. Brewdog are also going to donate 20% of sales of bottles of its Beer for Girls and Punk IPA to causes that fight against gender equality. So just donating it to feminists then. And of course the blue-branded Punk IPA will still be sold at the regular price, because fuck you men, a discrepancy the brewer hopes will trigger questions about why women continue to earn less than their male counterparts. Naturally, this just didn't go down well. It didn't work. Not only were the comments on their Twitter thread just them being chewed out, they got an article in The New Statesman criticising them. No amount of hashtag sarcasm can hide the feminism light behind Brewdog's Pink IPA stunt. Why'd you even bother? Beer for Girls is an attempt at making as much cash as possible from the female pound without addressing the underlying issues perpetuating gender inequality. Yes, we'll talk about the female pound in a moment. The beer brochlists at Brewdog are at it again. How dare they? Not satisfied at only having offended the transgender community, with an attempt at launching a pale ale boasting gender-changing hops back in 2015, the company have returned to offend women across the UK. Oh, fucking hell, Brewdog, just don't try. Just don't try. It's not going to work. This time they're offering a pink beer for girls just in time for us ladies to indulge ourselves on International Women's Day. They get absolutely chewed out in this, and listen to this quote. Beer is for everyone and not defined by colour. We've made our flagship punk beer pink. Pink IPA might look different on the inside, but it's exactly the same on the outside, but it's exactly the same on the inside, just like the female workforce. Okay, Brewdog, we get it. You really, really want people to know that you're pro-feminism. But of course, this didn't go down well at all. This was dismissed as them marketing feminism light, A movement co-opted by brands looking to capitalize on the emerging mainstream consciousness of feminism intends to make as much cash as possible from the female pound without addressing the underlying issues that perpetuate gender inequality. Yeah, that's it. It's not that they consider themselves feminists, it's that they're capitalists. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, why would you complain about that? You would think, right, if we can make feminism profitable, then more people would do feminism. All the companies are doing this. They're all virtue signaling. I wonder if it's actually having an effect on their sales. I would really like to know. And it doesn't even matter that they're going to sell the beer 20% cheaper to women, because they say the offering is rendered piecemeal when the company can't even bother to get its tone right. It's like, what, really? You're giving women an actual privilege in society here, a social privilege. They can buy beer cheaper than men, and you're like, well, you didn't even deliver that in the right tone, so I'm just rejecting that out of hand. I don't care. I mean, you're just feminism light. Just because that actually benefits women, it's an actual benefit for women to be able to buy things cheaper than men. It doesn't matter because you didn't do it in the way I liked. And the feminist light brigade get chewed out by the heavy guns of the Russian intersectionalists. I can't pronounce that name. She's not Russian either. Feminism light is a concept in which the benevolence of part-time male feminists is integral to the lackluster nature of support. Did you really think that was the kind of just slap in the face you were going to get when you were like, I'd like to try and help women. Stick whatever jokey label you want on it, but sexism still exists in branding and workforce across the country, and pertinently in the pubs that stock Brewdog's beer. Fuck you, Brewdog. You're actually perpetuating inequality. In fact, you're perpetuating sexism. You're part of the problem. Where do you think all the Me Too allegations are happening? According to a recent Unite survey conducted in the wake of Me Too allegations, 56.3% of women working in bars, clubs and restaurants and hotels have been targeted by a member of the public, while 22% say they've been harassed by a manager. My God. I can't believe Brewdog would even mention the word women without mentioning their crimes against the female race. See, Brewdog, your problem was that you tried to present yourself as an authority on feminism when you're fucking clearly not. And while we should congratulate the growing accessibility of the feminist movement, it doesn't exist to be capitalised by the trendy bros of the beer scene. Perhaps if Brewdog want to make a sustainable, committed contribution, they should speak to the women on the front line that love and work in beer, rather than attempting to ironic bro joke at the expense of its potential buyers. It's evident that Brewdog are going to be learning at least one lesson from this PR disaster. Feminism is for life, not just Q1. It's a religion. There is no point getting in bed with this cult because you will inevitably deemed to be not pure enough. But more than that, you'll end up getting sued because what they're doing is actually gender discrimination. A man called Thomas Bauer sued Brewdog for sex discrimination against men and won £1,000 after he was refused a drink, as in he tried to buy one of the pink IPA beers and they said no because he was a man. Dr. Thomas Bauer went for a drink at the Brewdog bar in Cardiff where he attempted to order the pink IPA drink, which was advertised for £4. Bauer said the bartender at the bar on Westgate Street refused to serve him the drink on the grounds that he was male and offered him the punk IPA that was sold for £5. The 27-year-old software engineer said, after a bit of back and forth about me protesting this, I felt forced to identify as female and was then able to get the drink for £4. I complained to the company about this, but they said it wasn't discrimination because the price difference was part of a national campaign to raise awareness about the gender pay gap. So, is it then, how does that not translate? How is it not discrimination? The whole point is that it is discrimination because you are complaining that there must be discrimination that creates the gender pay gap, and so you're recreating it as a political statement. I mean, I'm just saying, of course it must be discrimination if you're doing it as part of a national campaign about the gender pay gap. But what's worse is that you think that's wrong, and now you've done this to this man, and he's actually been able to take you to court and sue you for £1,000 because it is actually illegal to do that. Not satisfied with this, I complained to Brewdog, stating that I intended to take them to court over this, but would rather resolve the problem outside court. They ignored this. Unhappy with the experience in March 2018, Dr. Bauer decided to take Brewdog to the small claims court, stating that if they apologised publicly, he would drop the claim. He claimed for damages and apology for direct discrimination and breach of the Equality Act in 2010. Comes back to bite you, doesn't it? According to the court documents, in the document he said, "I felt forced to lie about my sex in order to receive the product at the lower price and told the bartender that I identified as female. The bartender then served me the drink at the price of £4. I mean, that just goes to show you what an absolute charade this all is. Can I buy that £4 beer, please? No, that's only for women. Okay, well, that's illegal. No, we don't care. We're only going to sell you this if you're a woman. Okay, I identify as a woman, says this man with a big beard. Like, and then he actually does sell him the beer. Just, all I'm saying is, lies are becoming the truth, and truth are becoming lies. The world does not operate in the way that feminists imagine it. It is not discrimination that creates the gender pay gap. It is women choosing to work fewer hours than men. But if you want to be on the inside club, you've got to preach the religion, and you better do it in the right way. But also, if you want to even access these products, you're going to have to say that you're a woman. Again, I hate to use the term Orwellian, but to say, no, I'm a woman, and then the bartender unironically gives the man the drink just because he said he's a woman, is quite scary. I mean, everyone can see the reality in front of their eyes. Everyone knows that this is a form of discrimination, and yet they're saying this isn't discriminatory. Okay, but he is a woman, if he says he is. Like, okay. Good on the judge here, though. In my judgment, it's clear in this case that the claimant has been directly discriminated against by the defendant because of his sex. The fact that by identifying as female he was able to purchase the drink makes no difference. I accept what Dr. Bow says, namely that identifying as female was the only way he could purchase it. He added that the doctor could have felt humiliated and this was not a pleasant experience for him. Well, I don't think it would have been, but who cares about what men think, because feminism is about privileging women and it's about disadvantaging men. That's exactly what Brewdog's campaign is. We are going to charge men more for one beer, and then the same beer packaged in pink we're going to charge women less for, and we're not going to let men buy it unless they claim to be women. The judge awarded him damages of £1,000, and the doctor represented himself in court and said that he did not want to profit from the case and donated the damages to charity after taking into account his costs, which is fair. And he donated it to Campaign Against Living Miserably, which runs a male suicide prevention line, among other things. He does not deny the existence of the gender pay gap, but said there should be equal opportunities over equal outcome. Well, he's completely correct. I mean, the gender pay gap exists for good reasons and is justified. It is totally justified that an overall gender pay gap exists when women work about 15% fewer hours a week than men. It's inevitable. It could not be any other way. You would have to be privileging women by about 15% on average for that to turn out to become the same. I mean, I just don't know how else anyone can view this. I can't imagine this is going to be the last time that Brewdog do some kind of feminist stunt like this, and it's not going to be the last time that the feminists reject it and then they get in trouble with it with the law because they're actually breaking the law, the Gender Equalities Act that the feminists brought in.